and welcome to the ABC's coverage of round 12 of the Commonwealth Bank Trophy. I'm Simone Thurtell, joining you this afternoon from Edsa Park in Adelaide for the match between the Adelaide Ravens and the Perth Orioles. Even though neither of these two teams can make it through to the finals, we do expect this afternoon's match to be a close one, as they both try and make their way up the ladder towards the end of the season. Let's take a look at the competition ladder and see how all 8 teams are faring. The Adelaide Thunderbirds maintain their position at the top of the ladder. They've been there all year, but the Melbourne Phoenix are still in with a chance of toppling the Thunderbirds as they are only 2 points away. The Sydney Swifts are still aiming to make it into the top 2 on the ladder to give themselves a chance of hosting the grand final. Well, last week, crosstown rivals the Sandpipers secured their position in the finals for the 2nd year in a row. The Melbourne Kestrels are the best of the rest, ahead of the Adelaide Ravens, the Perth Orioles and the struggling Queensland Firebirds. Joining me in commentary this afternoon is Monica Lam. And Monica, as I said, these two teams, neither with a chance to make it through to the finals. We do expect this to be a good match, though, and in the past they have had some good clashes.
Yes, Simone, in round 5, these two teams met and it was very tight indeed. Whilst the top teams are at the serious end of the business season as far as netball is concerned, both the Ravens and Orioles would like to formulate some consistency towards the end of the season also. I think for the Orioles, Cass Cox got the weight on her shoulders again to perform in the shooting area, but I think both Tucker and Paul defensively for the Ravens will shut it down. Home ground advantage again go to the Ravens. I'm backing them.
Underway in the round 12 match between the Adelaide Ravens and the Perth Orioles, and immediately it's a turnover against the Adelaide Ravens. You can see their team on the screen right now. Durbridge and McKinnon in goal shooter and goal attack. Tump, Grant and Trudy Gardner retaking to the court with her team. She did last week as well. Jane Paul and Alison Tucker in defence and goalkeeper. Jackie Blythe is the coach for the Ravens. For the Orioles, Catherine Cox and Tanya Edwards are the shooting combination tonight. Devitt, Seymour and Shin through the mid-court. Browning and Ring in goal defence, goalkeeper. Gay Teed is the coach. You'll notice that Sam Andrews is missing from that lineup for the Perth Orioles. Sam has a very bad case of the flu, and so the Perth Orioles decided not to travel her to Adelaide, considering she missed training, and they just felt it was more beneficial for Sam to stay home. So no score on the board early in this match. Few mistakes, few turnovers. Both teams settling down, I think, Simone. Kate Wright and Paula Ferguson are the umpires for this evening's clash. In fact, at the top of the show, we were going to talk about the combination of Tucker and Paul, and we can already see that they're putting quite a bit of pressure on Cox and Edwards. And Alison Tucker has had a fantastic start to the season as both Cox and Edwards miss opportunities to score goals for the Perth Orioles. We've been impressed with Ali Tucker's season this season. She really has stepped it up defensively. Gardner off the Tump. Cross-court to Danny Grant. Nice ball into Jamie McKinnon. But again, neither team able to get it through the net at this early stage of the match. Molly Browning gets pinged. And Charlie Durbridge pops it off to Jamie McKinnon, who gets the first goal of the match. Took almost 2 minutes to get that one on the board. And it's the home side as Danny Grant takes an intercept. And Trudy Gardner just couldn't quite get the hands on that one.
Stretch being pushed there from Danny Grant. Good work again from the Ravens defenders. An option open up there for the Perth Orioles. Turnover this time.
Gardner. Good touch there from Jess Shin. Seymour off to Devitt. Back to Shin. Through the hands, and Catherine Cox lucky to come up with that one, but it's gone through the hands also of Tanya Edwards. So the turnover's coming thick and fast. The Orioles have 4, the Ravens have 3. Oh, and we've only got 1 goal on the board.
Lightning pass on to Grant. See almost the intercept happening, but it just made there.
And Grant onto Durbridge. So 1 goal apiece for either of the Adelaide Ravens goalers. And touched by Perth Orioles. So the Ravens maintain possession from the sideline. Not a huge crowd in here at Edsa Park, but certainly a vocal one as opposed to previous years.
previous weeks that we've seen here.
Good interception there from Diane Ring. She kept the upright on Sharon Durbridge. Durbridge was trying to collect the contact call, but ball down in the Orioles forward line.
Oh, great work there to keep it in by Catherine Devitt.
Grant taking forward position on Senor.
A bit of a scrappy match, you'd have to say, to start off with. McKinnon now off to Durbridge. Chances not quite finding their target, but that's a nice steadying goal from Sharon Durbridge, who has 2 from 2 and takes the Ravens' lead to 3. Devitt has to stretch from that one. Cox back to Shin. Devitt. So Edwards will take it from, actually it's outside the circle, so Seymour offloads quickly to Catherine Cox. And this one drops in for Catherine. 1 from 2 now at 50%. Gets the first Perth Orioles goal on the board.
Wing defence option taken. Durbridge with the forward movement coming out of the goal circle. Grant right in the pocket.
Nice.
Well placed pass.
Oh, it just dropped in. You saw Jamie McKinnon have a bit of a sigh of relief there as it bounced quite heavily off the rim, but then bounced through the net. 4 plays 1. The Adelaide Ravens with a 3-goal lead over the Perth Orioles. Devitt onto Senor.
Oh, yes, replay ball. Senor almost on the 3-second time limit, but in the end, nobody was coming forward. Had to get rid of it, offloaded, and replay was called.
Handling error from Jamie McKinnon as she came screaming through, trying to get possession over the baseline. So the Orioles, can they take advantage of this possession? Diane Ring off the Shin. Browning. Oh, great intercept from Jane Poole there. Adelaide Ravens just seem to be settling into their timing a little easier than the Perth Orioles. Durbridge dishes off to McKinnon, who finishes it off nicely. 5-1, the Ravens over the Orioles. Danny Grant gets us underway again. Immediately there's an Orioles touch, but the Ravens managed to keep possession. And Browning came sailing over court, over the sideline. She's been pinned. Stands aside pump.
Oh,
great work from Shin in the air.
Not a great pass from Tum. Didn't allow for that player in between. Tucker, I think, was the last to touch. Yes, still with the Orioles.
Senor lobs one up over the top to Catherine Cox. And Catherine finishes it off nicely.
Good screen put up there by Tanya Edwards.
5 plays 2. The Orioles have had 4 attempts at goal. The Ravens 6. Turnovers is the statistic that's ticking over the most, though, on the scoreboard at the moment. 8 turnovers for the Orioles, 6 for the Ravens. As, again, a pass goes astray.
It's from Gardner. Good attempt there from Grant. Spotted it. Circle wide open. Good timing also from Durbridge. She polishes it off for the Ravens.
Good poise there from Sharon Durbridge after that great pass in from Danny Grant. Take a look. Grant takes the intercept. Sees that Durbridge is all alone, but then Sharon takes the time in getting the ensuing goal. She didn't rush it, even though there was no defender on her. Shin now off to Devitt. The Orioles down by 4.
Quick violation now, I think, on Edwards. A step called on her once again with the Ravens, and Gardner looking for somebody to come forward. Beckoning motion from Tucker. Oh, good thinking, Melissa Tum. Very good thinking. Push the ball forward. As Melissa Tum through, could see Edwards on that occasion. Picked up by Grant.
Gardner gets us underway again. The Adelaide Ravens. It's a 4-goal lead. But again, Shin, straight up in the air. That's her second intercepted the same manner.
And against Melissa Tump as well, so Melissa needs to be aware that she must have quite a good extension on that pass.
Tucker with the contact. Cox confident with the shot. It goes astray though. Tucker goes to ground, which allows Cox to get possession of the ball again, and this time Catherine shoots the goal.
3 from 5 at 60% for Catherine Cox so far in this first quarter. The Ravens out by 3, but Catherine Cox reduces that to just 2. Orioles have scored the last 2 goals in a row.
It's taken them a while to get to this point, so now we've played just on 7 minutes just over, and there's only 10 goals on the scoreboard, so a very low-scoring game in this first quarter. As you see, the Ravens put another one on the board, 7 plays 4.
Yet combined, there are 20 turnovers in the match so far. Neither coach, I'm sure, would be happy with that statistic. Edwards doesn't like the position, tries to
well
offload the Cox.
done.
Fantastic work there from Alison Tucker. Flung herself out of court over the baseline. Unfortunately, at the other end, Melissa Trump has a handling error. The Ravens can't capitalise on that sensational work from Tucker. 7 turnovers from Melissa Trump has just been pointed out by our statistician Todd Miller.
I think in previous weeks I've mentioned how impressed I've been with Melissa Trump. She seems to be quite a nuggety player, goes in very hard, but here in this first quarter against the Orioles, she's made quite a few mistakes.
Well, only 11 turnovers all up for the team. She has 7 of those, so she really needs to address the way she's playing in this match. As the step is called against Devitt, Gardner plays on quickly. McKinnon finds Trump. Durbridge, pressure from Ring. Durbridge will take the ball from the baseline.
Yes.
Coming up to 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter, Trump offloads into McKinnon. Jamie McKinnon waits for Diane Ring to fall out of the defensive position. And the Ravens now have scored the last 2 in a row, and they're out by 4. Adelaide Ravens 8, the Perth Orioles 4.
Durbridge hasn't missed one yet. McKinnon 5 from 7. Overall shooting percentage for the Ravens is 80%. The Orioles at the moment are sitting on a 57% shooting average. It's put 7 attempts to post with only 4 successful.
Durbridge had a great week last week. She shot 27 from 32 at 84%. So far tonight, 3 from 4 at 75%. Just not the opportunities really for either team to put up too many shots at post in this first quarter. There's been a lot of handling errors throughout the midcourt. Catherine Cox, though, total confidence with that shot. Cox has all 5 goals for the Perth Orioles, 5 from 7 at 71%.
Gardner collects the contact. Centre pass being taken there, both Grant.
Oh, Catherine Cox has just come up with a fabulous little turn around and shoot to bring the Orioles back within 2, and now the mistake from the Ravens, so the Orioles have the chance to bring this one back to a 1-goal war game. Shin holds it up. The Orioles have scored the last 2 in a row. Through the centre, misses every Perth Oriole player.
That was pressure put on by Gardner. She actually forced that pass. Tucker picking up the crumbs. Durbridge needed to come around. Oh, well done, Melissa Trump once again.
Great anticipation from Trump. Here she is, offloading to McKinnon. Browning picks up the contact. McKinnon picks up the goal for the Ravens. Adelaide Ravens 9, Perth Orioles 6.
The running take there from Melissa Trump onto Grant, and goal was the outcome for the Ravens.
Cox out to Devitt. Good quick ball back into Edwards. Edwards looking for her first goal of the match and overshoots it by quite a bit there. Hasn't been a happy first quarter for Tanya Edwards.
Shooting average for her 62%. Oh, extended there. Grant ran out of court space. Good pressure put on by Waveney Seymour.
Browning onto Devitt. Edwards across to Seymour. Floats one back into Catherine Cox. Takes it from a distance, hard off the back of the rim. Ali Tucker not challenged as she takes that rebound. McKinnon now holds it up. Finds a flying Melissa Trump.
Oh, well
beautiful
done.
work from McKinnon. Flying through from the top of the circle, saw that she wasn't going to have the position, had the peace of mind not to really catch the ball, but to just bat it on to Sharon Durbridge. Take a look at this.
Can't see position of Durbridge. Good thinking, well played. And I think you're mentioning just a minute or so ago, Simone, there was a 1-goal margin that could have been, and now it's blown out by 4.
This margin in this first quarter has been 4. 10 plays 6 at the moment with under 2 minutes remaining.
in this first quarter. It's been a low-scoring first quarter. Ravens have converted 10 of 13 attempts, while the Orioles have converted only 6 of 11. Cox will get this one again. And Catherine Cox brings them back within 3, the Perth Orioles. 1:30 remaining on the clock. Ravens 10, Orioles 7 as the stepping call goes against Devitt. Second step, I think, in this first quarter. Diane Ring pinned for holding. Durbridge quick with the goal, takes her team tally to 11. With the centre pass, the Adelaide Ravens with a real chance here to extend this lead now to 5. With quick passing there from the Ravens. McKinnon with the shot. Well played by the Adelaide Ravens in this first term. Senior looking to get underway quickly as she spots Devitt now. 50 seconds remaining on the clock. Browning into Edwards. Finds Cox. Tucker restricted in her defensive work there as Edwards puts the screen on. 12 plays 8. Coming up to 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter. McKinnon goes back to pull across court to Trudy Gardner. Durbridge offloads to Grant. Oh, great work again. Good hands from Tump onto McKinnon. McKinnon, good take from Durbridge under the post. And starting to play with some rhythm and some fluency now, the Adelaide Ravens. 13 plays 8. Oh, contact goes against Cox, but I'm not sure that the Adelaide Ravens will have a chance to get this ball down court because the timekeeper is out of his chair, and that is the first quarter here at ANZ Park in this round 12 match. And it's the Adelaide Ravens 13 who have the lead over the Perth Orioles 8. And let's look at the statistics at the end of the first quarter. Quite a slow start from both of these teams, but the pace picking up towards the end of the first 15, and I've been rather impressed with the midcourt of the Ravens. Grant, Gardner, and also Tump performing well, and I think the intercepts as such have come at really crucial points in the game, and that's underway in the second quarter. It is the Adelaide Ravens who are out by 5 in this round 12 match. Danny Grant got us underway again. McKinnon. And there's been a few changes, one to each team. Let's take a look at the Ravens first. Sally Lampshire has come on at wing attack. Melissa Tump, after 8 turnovers in that first quarter, has been sent to the bench. And for the Perth Orioles, Tasha Nikiforak has come on at the centre position, and Waveney Senior has gone to the bench. So one change apiece for either team. 14 plays 8. First blood going to the Ravens in the second quarter, but answered quite nicely by Catherine Cox at the other end. Cox now shooting 9 from 12 at 75%. Gardner running out of the space again. Devitt, Nikiforak. Cox holds it up. Back to Nikiforak. Now finds Devitt. Good movement from Edwards. And Edwards finally gets a score on the board. A minute into the second quarter. 1 from 3 for Tanya Edwards. And as Monica mentioned, Catherine Cox has 9 of their goals, shooting at 75%. Ball goes against Danny Grant. 10 penalties against the Adelaide Ravens, only 8 against the Orioles. Nikiforak has had 3 quarters in season 2001, has been part of 2 games, as Cox does a fantastic turn on the goal line. Plenty of pressure from Ali Tucker, but Catherine Cox does as that one sailed over the left shoulder of Jamie McKinnon. Notch up another turnover for the Ravens, and Perth Orioles have scored the last 3 goals in a row. They're back within 3. 14 plays 11. What can they do here? Touch from Grant. He's deemed offside. Grant really trying to make an impact on that arc of the circle against the new player there in Tasha Nikiforak. Great work from Alison Tucker. Just positioned herself well. Spotted well by Grant. McKinnon was there. Browning had gone out for the pass, the take on the transverse line, and that was well sighted. So the Ravens break the Orioles' run. Take their lead back to 4. 15 plays 11. That one falls into the hands of Catherine Devitt. I'm not sure she was expecting it.
And the Ravens, this is a scrappy match, Monica. Not just from the Ravens, but from the Perth Orioles as well. Not too many of the passes, as you see, going to the person that they're meant to go to. I think we need a statistic that shows us the passes that have actually gone straight to the opposing player. Todd? Statistician Todd? Can you come up with that one?
Draw another column.
Draw another column, indeed. At the other end, Jamie McKinnon gets another goal for the Ravens. And you saw earlier a graphic that showed the last time these two teams met was in round 5. On that occasion, it was the Ravens 58 over the Orioles 44. And again, nice work by the Ravens, and Sharon Durbridge likes that attempt. And they've skipped out again, the Ravens, to 6. 17 plays 11 after the Orioles have brought it back within 3.
Edwards trying to cut away around there in front of both the Ravens defenders. Paul puts the jump on the shot. Edwards 2 from 5. She's at 40%. Needs to be assisting Cox. So a little bit more. Cox there was 77%, as she always is for the Orioles, the main shooter and focal point.
Durbridge now has got the rhythm. That's her 10th goal, Sharon Durbridge. And against the Perth Orioles, she normally shoots 75%, averaging at 18 goals. For her career at the moment, she's shooting at 76%, which is an average of 21 goals a match for Sharon Durbridge.
Oh, well done. Jane Poole taps it in front of her. Smart thinking. Gardner sees the longer option again. Browning trying to cover a lot of ground because the ball is coming down very quickly. She can see opportunities to cut the play off, but while she's doing that, she's leaving McKinnon to roam in the goal line.
Durbridge dishes off to McKinnon, who sinks it. Jamie McKinnon now 9 goals from 12 attempts. The Ravens goalers sharing the workload quite nicely.
Grant spears that one into Durbridge.
Well, a forward momentum there from Danny Grant almost took her past the pass. It was kind of quite funny. She had to kind of hold herself up mid-flight and plonk herself down again so that she could keep up with the ball.
Next to the wing.
Nevertheless, the Ravens have scored the last 3 and they're out by 8 now. 5-goal lead at quarter time, but now they lead 20 goals to 12.
Good hands again. Gardner and Poole putting on the pressure. Edwards has to go back into the centre court for the setup. Grant backs herself. Great work there from Danny Grant.
Beautiful work to keep in court as well at the same time as taking that intercept. Danny Grant off to Poole. Lampshire now holds it up. Grant straight into the circle. Finds Durbridge, who finishes it off. 21 plays 12, under 10 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
Confidence is such a wonderful thing. Grant really running it hard in the last few minutes. Lampshire coming into this game in the second quarter, replacing Melissa Tump. And that one right through the goal ring for young Jamie McKinnon. McKinnon 10 from 13, 77% from her.
Well, the Ravens have certainly cut down on their turnovers in this quarter, which I'm sure is something that Jackie Blythe would have been saying at the quarter time. They had 14 turnovers at the quarter time. They've only added 1 to that in this quarter.
Well-weighted pass there from McKinnon to Durbridge. She played the space well, kept body in line.
And they're running away with it here, the Adelaide Ravens, in this second quarter. They have scored the last 6 goals in a row. Perth Orioles really need to stop this run. As Monica said, as the confidence builds, so does the passing and the conversions down court by the Ravens. Lampshire now into Durbridge. And Sharon Durbridge now shooting 14 from 15 at 93%. She's a nice steadying force at the back.
Edwards with the short option there. Nikki Forak, Edwards once again. Cox being contained. Tucker working her well. The jumps there, both Poole and Tucker putting the pressure on Cox.
Oh, Catherine Cox did well there. She was sandwiched in between the 2 Ravens defenders. You can see 75% she shoots against the Ravens, which averages out at 31 goals when she plays Adelaide. Catherine, 74% in her career. Generally shoots 28 goals a match.
Good body position once again from Durbridge. She's placing herself well in front of Diane Ring. Ring having a few problems in trying to manoeuvre Durbridge's position to the post. Once again, Tucker in the front made Catherine Cox work very hard.
Catherine came up with the contact. The Ravens ball just passed, sailed over the head of Lampshire there. She couldn't drag it back in, and time has been called here. Underway from the baseline, the Orioles with possession, 25 plays 13. Coming up to 7 minutes remaining in the second half. And during that timeout, that injury timeout, the Perth Orioles took the opportunity to make a positional swap. You can see that swap just there. Catherine Cox and Tanya Edwards have swapped positions. So Cox now in at goal attack, Edwards at goal shooter.
It should be very interesting also, Simone. We've got Cox up against Poole, so Cox not being perhaps a very fluent type of goal attack. She's quite compassing in her movement. Poole very agile.
Great ball from Danny Grant into Sharon Durbridge, who's shooting beautifully at the moment at 94%. 26 plays 14. Adelaide Ravens in total control of this match at the moment. We've got a long way to go as that one goes through the hands of Cox, but cleaned up by Devitt. Edwards, plenty of pressure from Tucker, and yes, Edwards comes up with a short shot. Tucker in great position just to pull that one in.
She there just dropping short, lucky to get the crumbs being picked up. Ball over the goal line. 17 turnovers to the Ravens, 22 turnovers to the Orioles. So again, lots of mistakes.
Sounds more like what the scoreline should be than what it should be in the turnovers. But here's another one coming our way.
Edwards didn't take the time to spot, just threw it up in the air and hoped, and you can't expect to win games or perhaps have consistency with those types of skills.
Well, Edwards has 7 turnovers to her name. Devitt has 7 turnovers to her name as well for the Perth Orioles out of the 23 that are attributed to their team. Penalties, the Ravens have 17. Orioles have 14. Devitt off to Edwards. Uncontested in that, but Edwards off target. Lucky Catherine Cox was there to just drag that one in before it went over the baseline.
Edwards 2 from 7, 29%. Durbridge spotted it well, came forward. Lampshire, who's played 4 games this season for the Ravens, but 11 quarters in total, has been quite a steadying factor in wing attack in the second quarter.
Browning off to Nikki Forak. Shin holds it up.
Oh, sandwich.
And the contact call. Grant stands aside. Nikki Forak now off to Edwards. Quick release into Cox. Cox doesn't take too much time about that shot, and it's a good shot. Brings them back within 10. 26 plays 16. The Orioles with the centre pass. Bring it back. Oh, single figures, but no, they can't because Alison Tucker has position.
Like those intercepts.
We certainly do.
It's an absolute defender's dream to have a ball coming in that high.
Let's take another look because it's worth seeing.
That bar, she backed it again. Almost took with it Edwards there, I think, on that occasion, but good intercept.
Ali Tucker was on our web forum last week on the ABC website, and a lot of young netballers throughout the country had plenty of chance to ask her a few questions. Don't forget, our forum is on straight after this match at 5:30, and you can get to the forum through our website at abc.net.au/netball. And this week's guests, we have Danny Grant from the Adelaide Ravens, Catherine Cox from the Perth Orioles will also be there, and you can talk to ex-Australian captain Vicky Wilson as well, so that should be a great forum.
I think I might even key in and ask Vicky Wilson if she remembers the state of her bedroom in the 1985 tour of England.
You were sharing with Vicky on that occasion?
Thank goodness I wasn't.
I was thinking, okay. Ravens 29, the Orioles 16, coming up to 3 minutes remaining in this second quarter. Danny Grant off to Jamie McKinnon. And McKinnon shooting confidently as well. Durbridge shooting at 94%. McKinnon shooting at 81%. They've converted 30 of their 34 attempts at post. The Adelaide Ravens, it's been a good shooting display from them. And they are in command of this match. 30 plays 16.
34 attempts, as we've mentioned, to the Ravens, 25 only to the Orioles, but when you say 26 only now, 16, that's what they've put up. Their shooting average 62%. And then once again, Catherine Cox has the workload. Long options. Look at those passes, almost three.
Danny Grant covering some ground as well. She's offloading those fantastic bullet passes.
Which is covering the ground with the pass. There doesn't seem to be a lot of leg movement happening, but when those options are so wide open, you don't have to run as much.
31 plays 16. Ravens with the centre pass. Grant off the Lampshire. Lampshire looked for the quick release to Durbridge. The touch, though, last by Diane Ring. So the Ravens still in the attack. Durbridge finishes it off. 32 plays 16. Fans are pretty excited about that. As we mentioned earlier, not the biggest crowd we've ever seen, but perhaps one of the more vocal that we've seen here at Exeter Park. Good to hear. This is the last home match for the Adelaide Ravens.
Oh, Paul was coming back from her penalty out and Tucker being left all by herself. Quick movement. It's quite explosive movement from Lampshire. Doesn't wait too much to pivot and get the ball off into the goal circle.
Browning with a good rebound off to Nikki Forak. Shin, a little bit stagnant, the Perth Orioles here as the Ravens defence steps it up. Now they make it to the centre third, but the turnover comes off Catherine Cox's hands. Grant now finds Paul, offloads quickly to Lampshire.
And that's the pressure that the forwards are putting on the ball as it's coming down into the Orioles attack line. They really are creating quite a barrier for the Orioles to move it into the mid-court.
Perth Orioles with the opportunity to score now. Nikki Forak, it just makes it to Edwards. There just seem to be more red skirts out there than there does green skirts, as again the pass fails over the head of the intended player. 27 turnovers to the Perth Orioles, 19 to the Ravens. You may think we're harping on it. We certainly are, because that is what is dictating this match at the moment, that one and only statistic, the turnovers. Ravens experiencing a lot more possession of the ball. They've put up 38. Ooh, time's got away from us. That is quarter time. I'm wobbling on, but at quarter time, the Adelaide Ravens 33 over the Perth Orioles 17.
You never wobble, Simone. Half-time statistics. Let's have a look at them. And that quarter there was the Ravens well and truly blowing the margin out considerably. 5 was the first quarter break. 33 plays 17 at half-time. Most of those penalties are very much the same. Rebounds the same. Turnovers excessive for both teams. Really, they wouldn't be happy. Intercepts. The Adelaide Ravens have 10. They've done very well in defensive area. Attempts to post. That's the scoreline at the moment. The Ravens shooting far better.
And that is half-time here at Exeter Park, and it's the Adelaide Ravens 33 leading the Perth Orioles 17. Jessica Shin gets us underway. You can see that there has been plenty of positional changes to the Perth Orioles. Jessica Shin moving to centre is one of them. Let's take a look at the changes. You can see that Hayley Eastcott has come on in goal shooting position. Tanya Edwards has gone to the bench. Jessica Shin has moved from wing defence to the centre position, and that means that Fiona Mitchell has come on in wing defence, and Tasha Nikiforak has gone to the bench. No changes to the Adelaide Ravens. They're happy with the way their team is going at the moment, as you'd expect. 33 plays 17 at the moment. Devitt onto Shin, back to Devitt. Cox starts the quarter positively. 16 from 21 at 76% for Catherine. They're going to have a big third quarter, though, the Perth Orioles, if they've got any chance of staying in this match.
Short options here from the Ravens. They moved down, caught that one. Lucky to go the way of McKinnon. Browning had the jump and the forward position.
Jamie McKinnon last week scored 29 goals from 34 attempts at 85%. This is Hayley Eastcott. Short with her first shot, bounces off the rim. Nicely taken from Tucker, who was unchallenged. McKinnon onto Gardner.
who's had a strong game. Good cut and drive by Grant, coming in front of Shin. Something they've worked on this week with coach Jackie Blythe.
And the Ravens looking confident and looking comfortable now. Lampshire onto Poole. Durbridge works with Lampshire. No room in the circle as the defence of Browning and Ring toughens up.
Oh, bad pass on that occasion. Grant would know that. Be working very hard to make amends.
Devitt onto Shin, but a great intercept from Ali Tucker. Tucker now with 5 intercepts to her name. 10 intercepts in all for the Adelaide Ravens. The Orioles have taken 4. Make that 5. The ball changes hands again. We find Sharon Durbridge all alone underneath the net. Ravens have scored the last 3.
Quite good hands from Mitchell with scrum well by Lampshire. Durbridge under the post once again. Shin recollects, and yes, it is a replayed ball. Durbridge 20 from 22 shooting, as you saw the stats there, 91%, 16 from 19, 84% from McKinnon. It just drops her way.
Sally Browning, I don't think on that occasion was aware of where the ball was. She was in perfect position just to take that one, but in the end, got a bit of a bump from McKinnon, who took possession. Ravens have scored 4 in a row now, 37 plays, 18. Grant to McKinnon. Back to Danny Grant, but again, Jessica Shin, she's done that on a number of occasions in this match this evening, where she's been in the position to just stem the pass from her opposing player before it's, almost literally before it's left the hand. Not quite there.
That's it.
Browning onto Shin, into Cox, who feigned to pass off to Eastcott, but in the end, Catherine got her 17th goal. Eastcott 1 from 2 at the moment. The lowest score, the Orioles, round 10, 1999. 34 goals on the board. I mean, we expected so much more from the Perth Orioles this year, Monica. They did some good recruiting in the off-season. They got Sam Andrews, Sally Browning. They had some experience there in Catherine Devitt, Catherine Cox, Waveney Senior. But they really haven't materialised as the team on court as what they are on paper. As again, we see another turnover. Jane Poole does well in his
Smart thinking. Good thinking. Very well done by the Ravens. We were speaking to a few people before the game, Simone, and won't mention any names whatsoever, but you can't win games if you haven't got shooters. And whilst Catherine Cox, and we keep saying this week in and week out when we do televise the Orioles, she is a great player. She's an Australian player. She needs support.
You know, sorry, Mon, I was just going to say, I clicked on a website of Catherine's during the week, and even she admitted in an article that she'd written for it that she's had a miserable year. She hasn't been happy, and her shooting's been way off.
She doesn't look happy whilst playing. Not that she has to go around with a smile on her face playing the game, but she doesn't look as if she's enjoying the game. And I think there's a different type of persona to Catherine Cox when she's playing for Australia, and there's a different persona when she's playing for the Orioles. And perhaps Gay T can do something to inject that same type of feeling in the Perth Orioles team.
The Adelaide Ravens have hit 40 goals, 40 plays, 19. That's incredible to think that the Orioles only have 19 on the board at the moment, and we are well and truly into this third quarter. Well, they've hit 20 now, so they're down by 20. Something to remember for the Adelaide Ravens. They've only scored 60 goals plus, as Ali Tucker takes another easy intercept there. They've only scored more than 60 goals this season once. And that was back in round 10 against the Firebirds. So you can see there, they scored 66 goals. So that was the highest score that they've ever scored back in season 2000. But this year in round 10, they scored more than 60 against the Firebirds, and they'll definitely be looking to do that again tonight. You think they're on track? 40 goals on the ball at the moment. Mitchell Plays on quickly now, Devitt onto Cox. Shin with the quick ball into Catherine Cox.
Slide Gayteen, a win record 24% on the sideline, looking very pensive.
And many people would have expected this to be a much tighter game.
Browning trying to make it a bit tighter there in the goal circle. She really has worked tirelessly.
Well, 6 plays 7 from the ladder. Would have expected a bit more. Certainly a lot more than a 20-goal difference. 41 plays 21. The Adelaide Ravens certainly looking to finish their season in front of their home crowd here at Etsa Park in style. They're going for the all-out win against the Perth Orioles. Looking to demolish the team from the west. Eastcott still can't manage to drop one. 0 from 3 at the moment as Catherine Cox gets her 20th goal and really hasn't had a lot of support. Edwards only shot 2 from 7 in 2 quarters. And so far Eastcott 0 from 3. But at the other end it's a totally different story. Sharon Durbridge 25 from 29 attempts. And Jamie McKinnon 17 from 22 attempts. So the Adelaide goal is having a much happier night. Now Hayley Eastcott gets one on the board for herself.
I wonder also, Simone, whether not having the option to debut game here today. Just mentioning we hadn't seen this young lady before, Miss Arena, so we wish her good luck. You wonder whether not having the option of Sam Andrews has created perhaps that missing link in the defence end for the Perth Orioles. I mean, that unique combination of Browning and Ring and Andrews has been quite a good young combination. We have mentioned it in previous games, and without her there, perhaps it's just created that hole that they haven't been able to fill.
If you missed earlier, we mentioned that Sam Andrews has a bad case of the flu, so that is why she has remained at home in Perth for this round as Grant gets a touch.
Just inside, players. Just inside.
Throw in
Just inside.
to the Perth Orioles. Catherine Cox will take it off to Devitt. Devitt pops it up for Hayley Eastcott. And Eastcott now has 2 in a row, 2 from 5 now for Hayley. Takes the Orioles' goal tally to 25.
Good pass, yeah, good take too by Durbridge.
The circle's starting to work nicely now for the Adelaide Ravens.
83% shooting average for the Ravens, doing very well. It's under 6 minutes remaining in this third quarter.
Touch from Gardner. So the Orioles from inside through Cox. Oh, did the no-look pass. There was plenty of pressure on Eastcott. She did well to take that one as it rolls round the rim and drops in for Hayley Eastcott. 3 from 6 now, 50%. The Adelaide Ravens 43 lead the Perth Orioles 26 with under 5.5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. McKinnon all by herself as Ring joins the party a little late after standing aside, so 44 plays 26 now.
Cox switched into the goal attack role in the second quarter. He's had 2 different shooters working with her.
And Sally Browning there just slapping her thighs in desperation. She's been called for the held ball, but she was appealing to anyone from her team to come forward so that she had an option to pass, and it just wasn't presenting at all. Eastcott with the goal takes the Orioles to 27.
Just about to pick up that point there that you mentioned with Browning. You know, once you're coming down court, mid-flow, having to wait 2.9 seconds, there is nothing more frustrating when your teammates cannot see that look in your eye that you need assistance. And that has never ceased to amaze me. I think sometimes in our current game that perhaps that feel and that instant reaction isn't there any longer. I think a lot of plays are trained over and over again. You don't get that I need your help look, you know, and assistance.
I think on that occasion Browning was actually verbally appealing as well, and it still didn't get through. As the Orioles come up with possession, the crowd not really happy with that passage of play, as you can hear them booing the decision. Nevertheless, the Orioles have scored the last 2 in a row. Good quick ball from Eastcott onto Catherine Cox. 44 plays 29. Cox shooting at 81%. Eastcott at 63% for the Perth Orioles.
Maybe she defended very well. That was backward pass to Poole, but went the way of the Perth Orioles. The envelope, please.
She's trying everything, Alison Tucker. You have to give it to her. She's putting the effort in. Tucker now with, let me have a look, she's got 7 intercepts. 5 rebounds to her name as well. There's an elementary mistake there over the third. 36, make that 37 turnovers for the Perth Orioles, 25 to the Ravens. We still have 2.5 remaining in this quarter and another whole quarter to go.
Even the penalty rate, Simone, has been quite high. The penalties to the Ravens, 34 penalties. Jane Poole being responsible for 11, but she could have been pretty close on a number of occasions, just tightly defending. And the Orioles, 22 penalties, and the main contender there is Browning with 8.
Well, Tucker hits the deck. The goal will count to Eastcott. Underway again. Danny Grant for the Ravens gets things happening. Coming up to 2 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Durbridge short with the shot. Ring comes up with the rebound. Browning down court to Cox. Devitt. Catherine Cox making good speed and good ground there to present the option there for Catherine Devitt. And Cox finishes it off as well in the end.
Good take there from Cox. Jump being put on by Poole, and that one rims out for Catherine Cox. She's 24 from 30 at 80%.
Trudy Gardner onto Danny Grant. Now finds McKinnon. Pops it out for Durbridge, who does well to keep it in court. Off the feet of Diane Ring, picked up by Jessica Shin. Cox down court, went past Devitt, went past Eastcott, and it was last touched by the Perth Orioles.
So Durbridge going out for that pass. Not a multifaceted type of player. She really just has one option, that's usually just to stop and prop as McKinnon collects one to the face.
She certainly did. Flinched as got flicked in the eye, unintentionally by Diane Ring. Jamie McKinnon continues on, though, and brings up her 20th goal, 20 from 26 at 77%. 45 plays, 32. McKinnon with the confidence now to shoot from anywhere, and why not when you're going to get all net? The home crowd appreciative of the effort of their Ravens team. Timekeeper is out of his chair as Catherine Cox goes for the quick goal. Beautiful from Cox. Shooting at 81%. I'm not sure we'll have time to have the centre pass. We won't. That is three-quarter time here at Etzer Park. And it's the Adelaide Ravens 46 who lead the Perth Orioles 33.
Third quarter statistics will now be for the Perth Orioles, and it's all going to be in this last quarter a matter of opportunities for the Orioles, and they have created a few more in that third term. Margin was 16 at half-time. It was now 13 at the three-quarter break, so they've won that third quarter. But you look at the statistics as far as shooting averages, 47 attempts to post for the Orioles, 70% shooting average, and the penalty rate very high as to the turnovers, and that's where they're losing it at the moment.
It's round 12. This is the fourth and final quarter between the Adelaide Ravens and the Perth Orioles. And plenty of changes made. Take a look at the Adelaide Ravens. Jamie McKinnon has moved from goal attack to goal shooter. That is because Sharon Durbridge has now gone to the bench after 3 great quarters. Kristen Heinrich has come on at goal attack. And Cotton and Large have also come on for... Oh, sorry, I'm just going through. Amber Large, yes, has come on as goalkeeper. Alison Tucker has gone to the bench. She's been rewarded. Kelly Cotton has gone to wing defence. Trudy Gardner has come off after playing 3 good quarters. Sally Lampshire has gone from wing attack to centre. Danny Grant has sat down, and Melissa Tump has come off the bench again after playing the first quarter. She's back on at wing attack. Sorry, there what happened there was the changes went over 2 pages for the substitutions, and I thought one was Orioles and one was Ravens, but no, they were all Ravens.
It's an encyclopedia of changes for this last quarter, and
Just got me a little confused, but we're okay now. Hope you followed along at home. 47 plays 34. Tump into Heinrich.
I was somewhat surprised that the extent of the changes by Coach Jackie Blythe.
Well, we have almost an entirely different team out there, apart from Lampshire and McKinnon.
We still have a quarter of netball, as we see replayed ball there from Kath Cox, and 13 isn't unattainable.
And as you mentioned, the Orioles did in fact win the third quarter. And that was a bit of luck there for Adelaide. Jane Poole still remains on the court for the Ravens in goal defence. Held ball though.
A few of those turnovers in the early part of the fourth quarter will see the Orioles perhaps pick up speed and increase their confidence, but not to be if there are chips like that by Heinrich and Poole and Cotton backing up as they go into the forward line for the Ravens.
McKinnon off the Heinrich. The contact comes against Sally Browning, who's going to call time. Everybody grimaced when we saw that one. Sally Browning back on her feet. Kristen Heinrich off target with her second attempt, but Jamie McKinnon cleans it up nicely for the Ravens, takes their tally to 48.
Oh, well done, Heinrich. But it was short on that one, I think. Contact. Looks like Jane Poole's being picked up for contact.
No, it's actually Heinrich that is being pulled out of play here. So a little bit of confusion on court between the players. Cox floats one across the circle to Shin. Cox looking for the quick release, but Eastcott having trouble getting away from her defenders, but beautiful pass off to Catherine Cox. 48 plays 35.
Margin 13.
12 minutes remaining on the clock. Plenty of time left here. Lampshire off to McKinnon. Jamie McKinnon, though, keeping the scoreboard ticking over for the Adelaide Ravens. Bit of consistency there. 24 now for McKinnon from 31 attempts.
Shannon Cox playing it in well. Jane Poole had the job on Catherine Cox. Started the second quarter. It's been a good tussle between those two players.
If there is a positive for the Perth Orioles, I have to say there's not too many of them tonight in this match, especially with 40 turnovers and 28 penalties. But Catherine Cox has shot well, 27 from 33 at 82%. She's kept a consistently high percentage in this match and has shouldered the burden of scoring most of the matches, most of the goals, as Jamie McKinnon at the other end puts up a beautiful shot as she's falling out of court. 50 for the Adelaide Ravens. 11 minutes to score 10 goals. And for the second time in season 2001, score more than 60 goals. Eastcott at the other end takes Perth Orioles to 37.
Edwards assisting Catherine Cox in goals wasn't perhaps the best option for the Orioles, but Eastcott seems to have settled in and has given something for Cox to look at least to create some movement in the goal circles. We see the Ravens take it out to 51, plays 37.
Well, that play got a cheer, and it was a deserved cheer. Great ball from Tump into Heinrich, and now they've come up with the turnover as well, the Adelaide Ravens. So they're starting to look a little sharper now. Indeed, that pass from Lampshire into McKinnon. And they're starting to look a little flashy now, the Adelaide Ravens. Tump holds up. Lampshire high ball goes through the hands of Diane Ring.
Really wouldn't be the best option, would it, across the goal circle against a player of 6'2".
Yeah, 188 centimetres for Diane Ring.
And Kristen Heinrich standing behind her. Yep.
Perhaps pass selection
well
has been something that is a point that both coaches will be taking up with their teams after this match tonight, because it certainly hasn't been good. Jackie Blythe, you can see a win record of 38%. 3 wins, 8 losses. That'll improve after tonight. She'll have 4 wins. I'm being presumptuous, and I'm sure people are going to complain about that last comment, even because there are 9.5 minutes remaining. But at the moment, I'm thinking the Ravens are going to win. 53 plays 37.
You have your say, Rosie. Voluntarily entitled to it.
Been in trouble for that before. Doesn't matter whether they're winning by 20 or 30. People still think that there's 9 minutes on the clock remaining, which is true. Devitt holds it up, now finds Eastcott. 53 plays 38.
Hampshire to Heinrich coming out on that occasion. Tubb almost wanted to release the ball before she had it in hand. Good offload.
And Kristen Heinrich gets her second goal from 5 attempts. Heinrich has only joined the court in this quarter. She normally shoots 75% against the Perth Orioles, averaging 19 goals. And this young lady, Catherine Cox, having a good night in the shooting area.
Cox's best shooting record in 2001 has been 31 from 40 attempts at 78%. She's getting close at the moment. She's got 28 goals from 34 at 82%, so her shooting average is better if she increases that by that goal for the Perth Orioles. Good work taken by Eastcott.
You can hear the call was offside. Shin went to take the very, very quick pass, but in fact it had to come inside the circle, so Catherine Cox sets it now. Eastcott, will she shoot from there? She sure will, and why not? Hayley Eastcott, that's a very confident shot. Brings up her 10th goal of the match for Hayley. Takes the Orioles score to 41, but the Ravens still out. 54 plays 41 as that one just sails over the head of McKinnon.
Margin still 13 in favour of the Ravens. So even last quarter. Shin, long option there, Cox. Good swing from Eastcott.
Contact against Amber Large. So Catherine Cox brings up her 30th goal, 30 from 36 at 83% for Catherine. The co-captain of the Perth Orioles, along with Waveney Seymour.
Well take, Catherine.
And finished off as well. So the Orioles have scored the last 5 goals in a row, coming home with a vengeance. 54 plays 43, still down by 11 goals, but they've come up with possession here, and they've still got coming up to 6 minutes remaining on the clock.
Catherine Cox to date, 325 goals from 482 attempts.
You can see the quarter by quarter. The Ravens out by 5 in the first quarter, by 16 at half-time. But then the Perth Orioles had a better third quarter, reduced that margin to 13. And that one bobs around and doesn't drop. So the Orioles behind by 11 at the moment. Have had the better of the third quarter and now the better of the fourth quarter as well.
Mitchell there assisting. Quick hand. Eastcott drops it in nicely for the Perth Orioles. The margin now 10.
10 the difference. With 5.5 or less than 5.5 on the clock.
Eastcott 11 from 15.
Really has stepped up, hasn't she? That's
12 from 16.
She missed her first 3 goals of the match, but now she has really worked herself into the game. This is her Commonwealth Bank Trophy debut, and she's having a screamer towards the latter half. 54 plays 45, and really the Adelaide Ravens made wholesale changes at 3/4 time, and it hasn't paid off at all. They're out by 10 again now, but the Perth Orioles looking the better of the two at the moment.
one thing that perhaps Eastcott has to learn is that she almost comes in and takes that from large, is that once the ball is released her teammate's hand, she cannot decide to change her movement. She did on that occasion. Turnover going the way of the Orioles.
Eastcott onto Cox, plenty of pressure, and indeed Jane Poole comes up with possession.
The upper hop, Lampshire responsible, very sloppy. Certain parts of the game it's been really sloppy. It's
Well,
inexcusable skill
let's
levels.
go through the stats again and we'll tell you how sloppy it has been. Orioles 46 turnovers, Adelaide Ravens 32 turnovers, penalties 42 turnovers against the penalties against the Ravens, and 31 penalties against the Orioles. And you're right, Monica, there have been the odd flashes of brilliance down court from either team where things have connected, but really the majority of this match, the passes have not found the player that they have been looking for.
In the defenders' defence again, I must say that Poole and Tucker, the intercepts that they have allocated against their name in the first half of the game, they well and truly earned.
Most definitely, especially Ali Tucker had 7 intercepts.
And we must also say that our statistician Todd Miller doesn't ever give an intercept for a bad pass. So the stats you see are fairly true.
Coming up to 3 minutes remaining in the match, it's the Adelaide Ravens 57 over the Perth Orioles 45. 12 the difference. At one stage, I think the difference was 20 goals in this match. So the Orioles have done well to fight back. Cotton out to Large. Lampshire now with possession. On to Tump. Cotton, Lampshire.
That was probably one of the moves from the Ravens, just to bring Lampshire on at wing attack in the second quarter. Tump making a few errors early. Lampshire setting them down, and then Durbridge and McKinnon shooting very well for the Adelaide Ravens.
Well, let's face it, Tump had 8 turnovers in that first quarter. It was the second quarter that set up this win for the Adelaide Ravens. They extended a 5-goal lead to a 16-goal lead. 58 plays at 46, coming up to 2 minutes remaining in the game. Eastcott across court. Shin. Oh. Quick ball into Eastcott, who had a bit of a battle with Large. Large wins it in the end.
Ball being pushed very well forward of the player. The extension of legs and arms in the Ravens forward line having to move very quickly. Bad pass again, but Orioles this time going offside. McKinnon getting on with the action quickly.
In and out for Jamie McKinnon. Nevertheless, her statistics are quite good for the evening. 28 goals from 37 attempts, 76%. Devitt back to Browning, looking for the long option in the end. Goes across court through the hands of Mitchell, who took her eyes off it at the last minute. As the clock ticks down, we're coming towards a minute remaining. And I think this crowd ready to celebrate the Adelaide Ravens. This will be their 4th win of the season.
Tump lucky to get that to McKinnon. But in turn, McKinnon has been shooting well. Here for the Adelaide Ravens, 29 plays 38, 76% for Jamie McKinnon.
And they've got 48 seconds to get another goal to take their tally to 60. Heinrich, doesn't manage to keep possession with the Ravens. Shin cross court through the hands, still with the Orioles though. And we have possibly jinxed the Adelaide Ravens from not making it to 60 here, I'd say. As the time ticks down. Devitt takes possession for the Perth Orioles to Eastcott. Dishes out to Shin across court. Touch there from Jane Poole. Catherine Cox quickly plays on, wants to get another goal on the board. 7 seconds remaining. The timekeeper running around to the umpire. Cox gets another goal on the board. But that is full time here at It's the Park in Adelaide, and it has been a convincing win for the Adelaide Ravens in front of their home crowd. The Adelaide Ravens 59, taking the match from the Perth Orioles 47.
And the end of game match statistics, and there are lots of mistakes, and to try and analyse this game in such a short time, I don't think I can do it, but the penalty count very high for both sides. I was disappointed with that particular statistics. Rebounds the same, turnovers for both teams was quite dismal, and I would say a lot of the turnovers